Hello, Ipswich. My name is Dr. Bill Hart. I'm the superintendent of schools here in Ipswich. Thank you for joining me today. I have a very special show for the Ipswich community. Today, we're going to focus exclusively on the students of the Ipswich Public Schools. And I have 8 just wonderful representatives of elementary, middle, and high schools. And they're helping me, this group of students, to launch a program that I'll be using for the next several years. And that is monthly I want to meet with students. The objective of that is to ask students, if they were sitting in my seat as the superintendent of schools, what would they be focusing on? And so therefore they'll be giving me some advice on how we can move forward in an effective way here with the Ipswich Public Schools. So without further ado, we're going to start with our elementary school students, and I'm going to have these bright, talented elementary students introduce themselves, tell you what grade they're in, and then we have a series of questions and things we're going to talk about over the next few minutes.
Hello, my name is Javier, and I am in 5th grade.
My name is Jack Gillis. I'm in 5th grade too at the Winthrop School.
I'm Gabby. I'm also in 5th grade and I go to Winthrop School.
I'm Emily Jones and I go to Doran School and I'm in 5th grade.
Great, thanks guys. So welcome back. Thank you for coming back. When we were talking before, it was before the winter break. And so my first question to you is how did winter break go? Did you have some fun? Is there anything you'd want to share with the community about how you spent your time on vacation?
Well, I spent my Christmas at home. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. My cousin came down, my grandmother came down, so we had Chinese food.
If I remember correctly, they came down from Maine, right?
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, it's always nice to see my family, especially since I'm quite a ways from them.
Great. Good. Anybody else? Fun thing over the vacation? And nice and loud so everybody will be able to hear you?
Well, I went to do a lot of parties with my relatives who also live in Maine. So, yeah.
Oh, that Maine connection. I don't know if you guys knew this, but I was a principal up in Maine for a while earlier in my career. You probably weren't born when I was a principal up there. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. Great place to stay to Maine. Ladies, anything that you girls did?
I stayed home for Christmas and then the next day we went up to my grandma's house.
Oh, nice. Where does she live, hon?
She lives in Western Mass.
Oh, okay. Oh, great.
I drove on Christmas Day up to my relatives in New York, Cambridge, New York, and we kind of just spent like a busy Christmas there, just with like visiting all the cousins, and there was no snow, so we kind of just played and usually inside because it was cold. But
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of places that had snow, so if you were a skier, you were kind of in trouble this season, right? Yeah. Well, thank you. Good. It sounds like everybody had a good vacation. My next question is this. I've been here for about 18 months as your superintendent, and I hear over and over again from students that they feel that the Ipswich Public Schools is a pretty special place. And that's fairly unique to have such consistent feedback from students that they enjoy their experience in the school system. And I just want to ask the students that we have here, what are some of the things that you think make Ipswich Public Schools special?
The community is really nice. Everyone's so nice to each other. And they help out around, like everyone helps out to do a part.
Yeah, I hear that a lot, that there's really a sense of everybody's in it together, right? You're supportive of each other. People feel like the community embraces them. Yeah, good point. Anybody else?
At Winthrop, we have a student leadership council, and what we get to do is there's all kinds of committees. In 4th grade, you get to do 1, and in 5th grade, you get to do 2. And all the projects you get to do are really fun, and they help out the school and the community and sometimes the earth. like some people bring down kids to their buses, and there's people who do like a recycling team, and they all work together to help the school be better.
Yeah, you hit on a great point, because it's important for students to have leadership positions and a sense of responsibility and a sense of giving back. And all of that seems to be weaved into, you call it your leadership council? Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Do you serve on the leadership council?
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh, great. And have you done that, is that just this year, or have you done it in the past too?
I did it last year too.
Last year too. Great. Thank you. Yeah. Anybody else?
Well, I really like the new Chromebooks. They're really
Nice
nice.
and loud, Javi.
Oh, sorry. I really like the new Chromebooks. It definitely helps, especially with Google Docs. You can now write like reading responses, which I really like, on the Chromebook, and we can do it at home too for homework too, which I like.
Yeah, the whole, for anybody that doesn't know, the Ipswich Public Schools has been very fortunate through the FEFI funds to have been able to invest $1.5 million in technology. So a lot of students across the district now have some Chromebooks. We have whiteboard projectors that have been installed in a lot of the classrooms. We'll have tablets. Some of that has been distributed. Others are still to come. And it makes a big difference, doesn't it? When you can get access to information quickly. The Chromebooks, I understand, are very fast. So helpful stuff. Good. Anything else?
Well, I really enjoy the instruments program that they do for 5th and 4th grade. And so in 4th grade, you can choose any band instrument you want to play, and you take time out of normal class time to do that. So you don't have to do it though, so it's voluntary. And then in 5th grade, you can keep going with the band instrument, and you could also, if you wanted to, choose a orchestra instrument to play. So I really like that because you can learn how to play instruments and read notes, and that is sometimes helpful because as well as doing the normal music lesson, you also get to actually play instruments.
Yeah. What we do with music here in the district, if you've been here, sometimes we take it for granted what an absolutely phenomenal music program we have. What was just described there is truly unique in public education for students to get that type of access to music lessons, etc., at such an early age. And for people that have been able to come to, as an example, our winter concerts, it just blows you away that how exceptional. In education, we throw around this term, oh, we want to be world class. And sometimes you use it so much the term gets diminished a little bit. We are definitely world class in music. It's something that we do exceptionally well, and certainly something we'd want to support in the future. So great point. Have we missed anything? Anybody else want to jump in on some of the things that you think are really special about the school system?
Well, I really like that this year they're starting to teach you how to play sports, like the basics of it. So when you're getting into 6th grade, you can actually play the sports to the best of your ability.
Oh, great.
At first I was kind of not really, I didn't really like it, but I've grown to kind of not really accept it, but.
Yeah. Well, the whole sports piece is a big piece. It's not only that you get out there and you get some exercise and you learn a skill about the sport, but in many sports, you have to learn how to work together on a team, how you collaborate. And those are huge, important skills the older and older you get. Well, great. That gives you just a few indicators of some of the things that make Ipswich Public Schools so special. Now, here's the part that I'm really looking forward to. That I want our students here to start to give me some advice. So if I could do the best job as superintendent that I could do, what are some of the things that you think I should be focusing on? Some of the things that you think I should either support because we do it so well, or some of the things that, geez, we could do this better. And so whatever you think would help me do my job better. That's the type of feedback I want from you guys, okay? All right. Who's going to be the brave person to start that conversation?
Well, I think that
I'm going to take some notes here too. So
I think that we really need a longer lunch time. I personally, I'm used to it, so I usually eat all my food up, but my brother, who's in first grade, he always comes home with his vegetables in his lunch bag and his cookie in his lunch bag, and sometimes even more than that. And sometimes I see people throwing away half-eaten pieces of pizza, and so I think that we really need to have a longer lunch time, and whatever that means, because we only have 15 minutes this year, and last year we had 20, and I can really feel a difference now.
that extra
So
5 minutes, yeah.
I think that we do need some more lunch time.
So, okay, all right, thank you. What else do we got, guys?
I have to agree with Emily on a longer lunch and also maybe a little bit of a later lunch, because I know we have lunch at like 11:15 or 11:30, and we've had it earlier in other years.
Yeah.
And sometimes in some classes you have your snack in the morning and then you have an early lunch.
Yeah.
And then there's the rest of the day, and you'll see so many kids who are so hungry, like you're hungry, and then you're trying to keep like your mind off it and stay motivated to work, but sometimes it's hard to do when you're hungry. And I also think we should also have a little bit of a longer lunch, because 15 minutes seems really short.
So lunch is a big issue here. Yeah, all right. Longer, the timing of it and everything? Okay, all right, good, thank you. Gentlemen?
Well, I remember, I think it was in third grade, there was something called technology class, and I really liked it because it was kind of teaching you how to use technology, and I thought that was really good because in later on in your life you're going to be using technology, and you need to know how to use it and how to make the best of it. So
All right,
I
yeah.
think that.
I mean, technology is such a part of our lives. Any of you guys have phones? No, not yet?
I have a tablet.
Oh, you have a tablet, yeah. So, I mean, and that gives you, as you know, even if you don't have one yourself, gives you access to all sorts of information right at your fingertips. So it's very much a part of our lives now, and to be able to use it and use it well is important. So to get that type of training and support is what you're suggesting.
And it helps you with responsibility too, because you're taking care of something that isn't yours. So you're learning to respect it and use it well.
That's such a great point. You know, here's a fairly expensive piece of equipment, and as a relatively young people, you're getting access to that, and which I think is really good, because it does build that sense of responsibility and accountability and all those pieces. Yeah, good job. How about you, Jay? Any final thoughts here?
Well, we have 2 recesses a day. Like when we have our recess, we all do different activities, and I play. Everyone plays something different, and sometimes it's not very put together. like a real like good game. Like I think we should make.
Are you saying that if you had some more structured games during?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
Yeah. Well, we all play soccer, and you just choose your team and just like run around and just play soccer. Except it's not usually even.
Yeah.
Like the teams, so maybe we can make it more even, like the same amount of skill on each team. Like
Okay. So make sure people are able to participate. That all the rules and the way it's coordinated is coordinated well. So you have a good, effective game out there. Is that? Am I hearing you right?
yeah.
Yeah, good. All right, guys, believe it or not, our time is almost up. If you have any burning piece of information that you want to share with me, this is your opportunity.
Well, I really like how the students seem to like work with the teachers, and I've really liked my teacher this year and last year, and I feel like that's really nice to have a teacher you know can help you, and they won't like get mad at you if you do certain things, and so I really like having like a teacher you can trust and will help you learn better.
Yeah, well, across the board, we have really great teachers. I hear that all the time, and I see it while I'm in the schools, but it makes such a big difference, doesn't it? When you have a really good teacher and you have a reasonable amount of kids in the class so the teacher can get to you and support you, that's an important stuff. Yeah, nice one, excellent.
Could I ask you a question?
Oh yes, I did say that I was going to give you a chance to ask me questions, yes.
Okay, so lately I have been kind of deciding like what I want to do when I grow up, and I was wondering like what is the life, what is a daily work life for you?
Of a superintendent?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a great question. So it can be very different every day, and that's what I like about it is that there's a lot of different things going on. So there's some things that you focus on as a superintendent all the time. One is the whole teaching and learning. So what are we doing about that? So are we working on curriculum and making sure that we're clear about what we want students to do? We also part of my job is to make sure that the lights are on and the heat's on, and so our buildings are another piece of that. I work directly with the school committee, and so they're elected officials, and so part of my job is to make sure that they understand what's going on in the school. Let me tell you what's going on today for me. So I started at 7:15, and I went to a local organization called the Rotary Club. And we talked about how they wanted me to do regular presentations to this group of business people around what the needs of the school are. So we did that this morning. After that, I went down to the Doyon School and met with the Doyon principal, and every time we get together, the Doyon principal has goals. And so we go over the goals and we say, so where are you on the goals? What are your plans for the next steps to implement those goals? So we've met for about an hour there. Then I came over here to do this show. Then I'm going to meet with another community member and have a working lunch on some pieces that we have to do there. After that, I will, let's see, what's after that? I have a school building. We're trying to get the Winthrop School either renovated or rebuilt, and so we have a meeting this evening to go over that. And I have a parent meeting early afternoon, and there's one other thing that I can't remember. But they're usually pretty busy days. They're long, but I enjoy it. It's a great job. I feel honored to be able to do it. Good question. Thank you very much. Well, at this point, we're going to wrap up with our elementary students. You guys, again, fabulous job. Thanks so much. And we're going to close out here, and we're going to invite our secondary students to come up and talk about some similar questions. So stay tuned. Well, welcome back, Ipswich. This portion of the show, we're going to spend some time with some very talented secondary students from our middle school and high school. Going to go through a similar process where I'll be asking some questions, and we'll finish this segment with me asking this group of bright young people to give me some feedback on how we could, in my position, I could best impact the Ipswich Public Schools. But before we get there, we're not too far away, although it might feel like it's ages away from the winter break, right? So I don't know if any of you did something that you would want to share with the audience as far as something that was interesting, exciting, or just fun for you. Oh, before we do that though, let me ask them to introduce themselves. So why don't we just go down the line and your name and what grade you're in?
All right, yeah, I'm Louis Hewitt. I'm a senior at Ipswich High School.
I'm Ben Yanakakis. I'm an 8th grader at Ipswich Middle School.
I'm Anna Davis, and I'm in 8th grade at Ipswich Middle School.
I'm Lily Stewart, and I'm a senior at Ipswich High School.
Great, thanks guys. Yeah. So vacation, you have a good time? What did you do with yourselves?
I was up in Maine, and I spent time searching for snow to train my sled dogs, and I also spent some time with my family, so that was nice.
Now, was it pretty difficult to find some snow up there?
Yeah, it was quite the challenge. We had to drive almost into Canada to get some of the white stuff, so.
Wow, yeah.
It's
It's
tricky.
been a tough season that
Yep.
way. Yeah. Anybody else?
I spent time with all my sisters who were home from college and played a lot of basketball.
Well, yeah, the basketball's up and going, huh? Yeah. Now, you said your sisters, do you have two older
I have
sisters?
3 sisters.
Okay, and they're all basketball people?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I really stayed home and played a lot of basketball. I spent time with my family, and I spent time with my big brother who's home from college.
Nice, nice. Where does he go?
UMass.
UMass?
Amherst, yeah.
Amherst? Oh, great. My daughter's just starting. She transferred to Mass College of Art and Design. So, in fact, I'm bringing her up there tomorrow. So, yeah. So that's exciting stuff.
Yeah, I didn't do too much. Like the first half, I was recovering from wisdom teeth surgery, so I just kind of, but pretty low key. I was just kind of hanging. Didn't do anything too exciting.
Not too much, just recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Well, as we had asked the elementary students, I do, and I've been in a lot of different schools, but I hear pretty consistently that students feel that the Ipswich Public Schools is a pretty special place, which is interesting. That doesn't happen all the time. So I was just wondering if from your point of view, some of the things that you think might add to that reputation and that feeling on the part of students.
I really like the environment at the Ipswich Middle School. Like we're always working together, like putting classes together and like spending a lot of time with all our friends.
Yeah. When you say putting classes together, is that when?
Yeah, it's when the 2 classes from each cluster, they go like into the pod and we meet and we do like class together.
Yeah. I don't know if you were part of right before vacation, you were doing some work. One of the classes was doing some work and they had everybody in the pod, and there was a series of questions that people responding to. It was fabulous. You guys they were hard, really hard probing questions, and you guys were doing a great job with it.
Well, I'm big into the athletic program, and I really like that all the after-school programs, like sports, like intramurals, it gives chances to kids who really aren't too big into sports to really have a fun time and be part of a team and truly have a lot of fun.
Yeah. That's a program would like to expand.
Yeah.
The intramural program, because it gives access to students that they may or may not want to get into organized sports in the future, but to get that exposure and to be spending time with their peers and everything, yeah, very good. Anything else?
I love the teachers at Ipswich High School. Right now I'm taking 3 AP classes, and one of them's online, but the 2 that I have during school are calculus and English, and both Miss Casey and Miss Pansiera, who are both so skilled in those 2 subjects, they always make time to stay after school and edit my papers or help me with problem sets or give me practice problems on volumes of rotation. So it's really great.
Such a difference too, doesn't it?
Definitely.
I remember talking to my own kids, and they went to a school that was just a great school, not dissimilar to Ipswich High School. And I said, well, what made it so special? And they said, Dad, I feel like the teachers want me to learn even more than I do.
Yeah.
It's like they just feel so strongly about helping you be successful.
Yeah, it's really contagious, the way that they just...
Well, I love
really,
that.
They want
In
you
case
to
somebody, I
success.
love that word. It's really contagious,
Yeah.
right? You set up kind of a culture of working hard, but also
Success.
supporting each other.
Yeah.
Makes a huge difference. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Anything else that you think?
That's kind of like what I wanted to talk about, was how I feel like just there's such a strong community of everyone kind of willing to help out each other, and it's you can do your own thing. They encourage they encourage people to kind of have their own hobbies, and they don't kind of they're not very limiting of what you want to do. It's not like you have to play this sport, whatever. It's kind of you can do your own thing, and I think everyone's there to kind of help you out, and that feeling's definitely there. So I think that's the most important.
And that, so you guys do such a good job with this. There's all sorts of research around education that says if you can access the educational experience through a lens that's important to you, it makes a huge difference, because you're kind of accessing it through something that you already have a certain passion about, and that makes all the difference in the world. Yeah. Any other thoughts on that topic? Yeah. We good?
Yeah, I think so.
Good. Okay, so here we shift into the advice part of the segment. So, you know, the bottom line is, if you were sitting in my seat, looking at what you know about the Ipswich Public Schools, where would you be focusing? And what might you be doing to build on this already strong school system that we have? So jump right in on this one. And I'm going to take notes if you don't mind.
While I was sitting in the corner, I came up with a 3-tier plan.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
So-
You're hired.
Yeah. Well, it's not really a 3-tier plan, but it's like 3 subjects that I think could definitely use help in the high school.
Okay.
That one's last. Sustainability, stress, and success. So I was thinking for sustainability, I'm vice president of the environmental club, so kind of have a bias there. But we definitely need to focus a little bit more on recycling and composting at the schools, because sometimes it's neglected. And even though we have the facilities for it and we have the storage buckets for it, sometimes kids don't use it, or the janitors won't always use them.
Yeah.
So we need to focus on that. And we have a great garden going, but it would be great to have more community support about that. And then obviously someday solar panels or windmills or something like that. And then also something that I know a lot of kids in junior and senior year are worried about is, just everything. Like, there's so much stress in the environment. And even though we're all working really hard to do our best and get into good colleges and be the best people we can be, sometimes people get really worn down by it.
Yeah.
So if there's any way that the teachers or the administration can come up with ideas to try to cut back on the stress a little bit, whether it's having homework-free weekends or, I don't even know, reducing some weights of tests or something, that would be really, really great.
Yeah.
And then finally, focusing a little bit more sometimes on learning the material instead of just being able to regurgitate it back out.
Yeah.
So that was really important to me during AP classes, was actually understanding the concepts and not just memorizing the formulas.
Yeah.
So doing stuff like that, and another way to do that would be, for the second half of the year, the AP classes, we don't get to meet anymore because that's the way the block scheduling works. So we meet once a week, but we don't meet every day. So sometimes some of the information gets lost. So recently we've been talking with our AP teachers about everyone buying their own practice book. But if that was something that was in the school budget, that would be really great as a way to make up for the fact that we're not meeting for those 2 months before the test. 3 months, 4 months. I think it's 4 months because our tests are in May.
Wow.
So it's from now until May, we won't be meeting anymore. So if we each had our own book to kind of follow along with and work out of, I think we'd be a lot more successful on the exams.
Wow.
Yeah.
So some big issues there.
Yeah.
But
But they're all very fixable.
They are. They
Yeah.
are. I was going to say, I have done some work in the past in previous positions around the stress piece.
Yep.
And it's interesting. I was part of doing a study of highly competitive colleges, and I think oftentimes we feel like more is more.
Yes.
And really, for highly competitive colleges, less
Exactly.
is more. They want to make sure that whatever you do it exceptionally well.
And that you're not spread out too thinly.
That's right.
That's a
That's
problem,
right.
definitely.
Because what they've found is, any kids that can grind through a lot of different courses are a dime a dozen. The students that can come out of school and have really gone deeply into subject matter and maybe even reflect some new and interesting thinking in that area is what they're looking for. Because highly competitive colleges want people who are going to have an impact on the world. So they're proactive, they're creative, they're looking for solutions. So it's a great place for us to be spending some time. I also think this piece on the schedule, if you don't know already, the high school and middle school to a certain point over the next several months are going to be looking at their schedule. And so Mr. Dalton and Mr. Fabrizio have working together on trying to find a new and improved schedule for both of the schools. Won't be implemented, obviously, for you at this point, but to try to keep some of the things. There's some great stuff about the schedules that we have now, but also minimize some of the negative impacts. So hopefully we'll come up with something that's pretty solid. So thank you. Great advice. Anybody else? That's a hard act to follow.
Sorry, guys. I just had so much to talk about, so don't feel like you have that much to talk about.
Well, one thing we have that's new this year, we have a long block, which is like 1 period a day. That is a 74-minute period, which is like 2 classes into one.
Yeah.
And every day it switches, and it's kind of hard. Like if we have like science one day long block, then math the next day, it's hard to catch up. Like for some kids, they don't have the same amount of time, so other classes are ahead.
Yeah.
And I think like instead of doing a 74-minute period, you could just make each class longer. So each, like everybody's well-rounded.
So take those minutes and kind of spread them across all of the classes. So have longer classes, but maybe not as long as the 74-minute
Yeah.
one.
That's a
Okay.
really good idea.
All right. Good. Good. Anything else, guys?
I think that, well, you know, earlier I was talking about like how great sense of like community and everyone's helping you out with, you can do your own thing. I think that's a lot more established outside of academics, like in terms of extracurriculars.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
in implementing that feeling more and like incorporating that with the academic would be, it's like definitely a hard one to accomplish because there's so many different variations, so many different kids to deal with and different ways of learning. But I think if you could implement that sense of being able to take control of your own education and not having it be this thing that's forced on you, it could definitely just help motivate kids and all that stuff. But it's definitely a challenging thing to implement into the academics.
It is. But some of the things that we are working on is shifting towards a more project-based type of curriculum. So, and when you do that, there's certain things you're going to need to learn, some content that you're going to need to learn, and that's an important part of what we do. But when you have a more project-based approach to it, you can access it through different ways. Right. You know, I've seen some great classes in social studies where they're studying the Roman Empire, but I'm studying it through the clothing associated with the classes of the Roman Empire. And somebody else is looking at the weaponry, and somebody else is looking at military strategies, and somebody else is looking at the Senate system. So it gives you that different way of looking at it, but you end up in the same place about knowing a lot about the Roman Empire. So I get what you're saying, and we do need to do more of that type of work because it builds ownership, and when you have the ownership, you get invested, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. Any final thoughts?
Well, I didn't add to the last question, but I think we should work on the more materials in each classroom, because I know in science class we don't always, not everyone at my table always has every material we need to conduct our experiment, so everything gets delayed a little in class.
That's such a great point. It's you know, it's hard to do like a project-based classroom if you don't have the stuff, right? So, and stuff can be expensive. You know, I'd say stay tuned over the spring as I'm out there advocating for trying to get some of the funding to bring those things, because it's hard to do innovative and creative things when you don't have those material resources. Well, I'm a little nervous for my job because we have everybody as just great advice. So thank you. Again, this is the launching over the next several months, and I plan on doing it and continuing it for the rest of my career here, monthly talking to students and getting this type of feedback, because it's extremely helpful. Even though I'm in the schools and in classes, that doesn't take the place of hearing right from people who are experiencing what's going on in the school system. So this is wonderful. I want to thank all of our teams, both the secondary folks and the elementary students who were here a little earlier in the program. Big help. And I'd like to close just by saying thank you to the community. It's a real pleasure to have the opportunity and honor to be working with students like this. So thank you very much.